Make me feel like a bad girl. Make me feel like a bad girl. Feel like a bad girl.
deep into my bones and veins. Still feel you feeling me. I can't seem to release this pain that you've planted inside me. You can take this from me, but you won't watch me bleed. You can take this from me, but you won't watch me bleed. You won't watch me bleed. Just right on the face in my way. I'll show you crazy. Still feel you failing me. I can't seem to find peace. I can't let go. Every time you lose control, there's another blood I hold. Twisting and twisting slow. So get off those roads. Just right on the face in my way. I'll show you crazy. It takes some time to realize it's not your fault. It took me time, my whole damn life, to find the power that's in my hands. To find the power, to find the power that's in my hands. You don't have on me. I have on myself. Just right on the face in my way. I'll show you crazy. It's enough having you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first week of Fortnite for Belong Arenas. It's been a while for myself, Toby Campbell, casting here, but it's a pleasure to be back. George, first time we've been actually introduced and casting today. I'm aware that you've been with Belong Arenas for a long time as well. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing very well, thank you very much, Toby. Yeah, it's been a very long time. I think it's been about 2 years since I've actually done an arena clash. There's been a few arena cups and stuff like that I've done, but it's a pleasure to be back and doing Fortnite of all games. I'm very excited for it.
You and me both on that topic as well. Shout out to Belong Arenas, who literally put on so many cups during the pandemic and provided so much entertainment for lots of gaming fans, from console to PC sports and fighting games, shooters, you name it. Belong have put it on. So yeah, absolute pleasure to be back myself, George, to echo that sentiment. And yeah, Fortnite, the first week, as I said. It's been a while actually since I've casted a Battle Royale myself, and Fortnite, for that to be getting going as well here on Belong Arenas. It's really, really great to see.
Yeah, definitely. I personally haven't actually done any shooter games or anything like that before with Belong, but I'm very excited to be getting into this one. I'm pretty sure the first game we are starting off is going to be build mode. So we're going to be doing a build mode game to start it off with. Then we're going to be switching over to no build, then back to build mode for the final game. So there's plenty of content here for whoever plays it. If you play either mode, you'll enjoy it. Let's get onto it. I'm very excited to get into this one.
Absolutely. Likewise. Here we go. You mentioned it, right, George? The format is quite kind of different, actually. You know, some tournaments, well, most tournaments in Fortnite, they go with kind of only building or only zero build throughout. But no, we have a bit of a mixture. So these players, these teams all get quite a bit of a test, if you will, in terms of the different styles of which Fortnite can now be played with. Of course, zero build is very new comparatively to the full build. So yeah, let's get this one started then, shall we? Hopping on board first with Misty has point of view. As you can see, we have 34 players in total alive right now, and I'm curious actually, George, as well. Curious to hear your opinions on this, but I mean, do you have any idea as to who's perhaps going to take an early lead in Fortnite today? Have you had a scan across any of the teams today?
I feel like that in this tournament specifically, this will come down to which teams have the best cooperation together. And I think you've definitely got to look at Birmingham Shield in that situation. They've got Ghost Ties and Ghost Tex, who obviously they're in a clan together. They got the name together. I feel like they're going to do pretty dang well. You can see them there, you know. I mean, it doesn't mean everything, but when you've got a clan name and stuff like that, you know each other. You know each other's play styles. You're going to group up together, and that is really important in build mode, is keeping together and making sure that when you're going to challenge somebody, you don't just push them solo. You want to try and push them as a team, and instead of just having one shot, if you push together, you get those two shots off. So, yeah, it's good to have a teammate that you can rely on.
Totally agreed, and I was eyeing up those usernames earlier too. I think Ghost perhaps could be a dark horse, in my opinion, especially given, really, as you mentioned, the importance of communication and teamwork, especially in Fortnite, and that kind of extends both into, as I mentioned, the build mode and also zero build. So, yeah, curious to see how these teams' performances do differ across the two styles of play for Fortnite. So, yeah, as we get into this early game, if you will, for this first match, you'll see players across the board, really, just focusing on loot. And of course, we've got a fair few less players than usual, than say your average pub stomping games here in Fortnite. And so, I guess, George, I want to know your opinion on this. But I mean, personally, for me, I would tell my partner, hey, we should just be focusing heavily on getting loot, getting resources, getting materials, so that we can prepare best for that end game, given that there's probably a little bit more space, at least in the early game, between your teammate, your team overall, and also the rest of the opponents in the game.
Yeah, I would say that it's important to get your starting location down, get to wherever you want to drop to, get a couple of guns. I wouldn't say it's particularly necessary to go and loot every area. If you're uncontested, sure, go ahead, loot the entire area. But if there's another team in the area, you want to try and get as many mats as possible in build mode, so you can get that high ground. So you can get that if they try to contest you, you can just build above them, get that high ground, try and work your way down with some edits, and try and get a few shots off. But yeah, I do think it's important to get a loadout. Sorry, you're comfortable with, and you can see here for N-Star Nalvi, or however you pronounce his name, very comfortable with the Evo Chrome burst and the Prime shotgun. Probably the best shotgun in the game, I would say. Has the best hitbox for me. You can get some gnarly damage off on headshots.
Yeah, and of course, Fortnite in particular has been quite an interesting developments meta-wise over the years, right? Shotguns have changed drastically. We've had brand new weapons come in. Of course, the chrome weapons for this past update as well has been a huge change in of itself, right? And for me personally, George, I came from Gears of War, from Gears Esports, and that game was all about the Nasher. That was all about the shotgun, and it really dictated the flow of play. And so as we go through so many updates with these different shotguns, and players and teams work out which is the best, some operate better if you do aim for those headshots, and you got more of that burst damage with significant damage in those initial shots. I do wonder, honestly, which players will kind of opt for the more stereotypical weaponry, as the one you just mentioned, or will players kind of just vary it up based on their strengths, right? And dependent on perhaps how much they've been practicing with, say, these new chrome weaponry in particular.
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely say that the chrome weapons are probably the most interesting weapons we've had in the game in terms of the way they work, the evolution aspect of them. Because you can shoot the wildlife, you can shoot the chickens, you can shoot the boars, the wolves, whatever you can find, and it gives you level up progress onto your weapon. So you don't necessarily have to take these team fights, and you can get the upgrades onto it. And as you can see, N-Star leveling up to a purple here, which is really quite good. We'll have to see as we switch to a different player's perspective. We can see Heisenberg here with Talisman as his teammate. They're over in Rocky Reels at the moment. Probably one of the best POIs in game, I should say. You can see there's a bit of build in here, so there's definitely been a few team fights.
Yeah, and a great point as well. That as once again, it's kind of a bit more spread out. We've lost around 10, 11 players now in total, and so yeah, you can definitely tell that these big POIs is really valuable ones. That typically have a lot of players will be under a lot of competition early on in the games, as teams perhaps elect for those high loot areas. Great loot actually coming in here for Heisenberg and the rest of the squad. In fact, plenty of materials being built up. Of course, they are in the storm currently, so they are going kind of all in, if you will, to make sure that they get the full value from this loot and the damage they are taking. But of course, it is early game so far, George, so not too much pressure in terms of the health damage. And of course, they can just shoot off into the distance to get straight back into the safety of the zone.
I mean, it's 1 tick per second at the moment, so it's nothing too crazy. Once it obviously gets a little bit tighter, it does make it a little bit more difficult for you, but they get plenty of heals from the vault there. As you see the glider come out, probably my favourite. I forget what the glider's name is, but it is a beautiful glider, that is for sure. And you can see Heisenberg's loadout here. It's a questionable one. So got the green prime and the mythic rapid SMG, which I'm pretty sure is a drop from one of the characters in game. I'm not too sure. I forget who it drops from, but a very interesting loadout. No AR. A lot of the players nowadays are saying that the ARs this season, this current patch, aren't the greatest. I would be inclined to agree with them. I think that the Evo Chrome Burst, the recoil's kind of crazy on it. It's got a very, very high horizontal recoil. The Ranger, again, it's a slow firing one. You kind of want to tap with it. The Hammer is the best by far, in my opinion. Really nice fire rate. Doesn't have a crazy high recoil. But yeah, you can see here the player not opting for an AR. So very interesting choice.
Yeah, great insight there, truly. And I think it's worth checking in on the scoreboard once more. Again, in fact, you can see we're almost actually losing our hand there. Very low health indeed, but Ghost, the team we were looking out for earlier, still pretty much quite healthy there. You can see 2 eliminations, both coming from ties. And of course, as well, some other players. Actually adds himself. He's quite weak there in terms of the health situation. And it seems like we have had a fair amount of eliminations so far already, George, despite it being still quite early on in the game, especially given the competitive scenario, as games tend to last a little bit longer, of course, in these kind of arenas where survival is absolutely everything, as teams try to gather as much points as they can.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, you can see so far about 13 players have died. That probably means there is one solo player running around, maybe can save his teammate. As you can see, Teaser Lad is getting hit by the storm a little bit here, but a very nice loadout. I do like this. The Evo Chrome shotgun, very nice. If you can get it up to the gold variant, it is really, really powerful. But the gold hammer, it's just really, I think it does 56 per headshot, which is crazy good for the fire rate it has as well. As I think might be the solo player. Yeah, Crook Lad, unfortunately, bit the dust, as you could say.
Yeah. Bit of a task ahead of Teaser Lad, that's for sure, as he gets his health back from the storm. One team just ahead of him across the way. I do wonder how well those guys are set up. Let's check over some other players, though. Even more so, actually. Players getting caught in the storm a little bit. Again, it's not too stressful, right? Just still hitting 1 HP this early on. But it seems to me, though, George, that a lot of players here in this, as I said, competitive environment are trying very hard to get as much loot as they can ready for the remainder of the matches, right? And this is actually a somewhat of a tense situation, potentially, for Vortexia and his teammate. You can see he's getting shot just a little bit to his right from Heisenberg and his teammates. Of course, we saw them earlier. Plenty of vehicle usage so far, and Vortexia and Ads clearly very quickly trying to just get as much ground as they can in this new circle. We're down to 18 players out of the 10 teams overall, and so things are about to get a little bit precarious, I think, George, especially given that mini-map bottom right.
Yeah, you can see the safe zone, it's getting rather small here, and the players are starting to collapse in on each other. I think it was the Ghost team were sitting on top of the hill side of Lustrous Lagoon, getting that high ground, which is really, really important. It can be difficult sometimes, though, if you've got the high ground. It does make you a bit of a target, so you do need to be careful that you don't have any snipers on your head. But as you can see, GBG trying to find a way out of this little cave they've built themselves into, and it does look like there might be a fight going on just across the road. As you can see, there's plenty of builds going on, Toby.
Yeah, here we are then. Let's catch back up with Heisenberg and his teammate as he drops on a bunch of players here. This is kind of your center of the battlefield at this point in time, as teams are kind of just on the outskirts, kind of observing from a distance at this point. Heisenberg lurking just above still. You see Mini Drop trying to escape, it looks like, as well, as they try and gain some space, some distance away, as there is total chaos at the moment. But clearly Heisenberg and crew are going full on aggression, lots of editing being utilized, as we see N-Star trying to stay alive, but not going to happen. The 2v1 does come on through. Still, though, another team is starting to engage Heisenberg very quickly, trying to build and find some cover for now, but you know, he's actually going to get down. Ads coming in with the double, in fact, or getting the down and the finish. There is the double that I spoke of. Talisman, Lilac getting dropped. Ads, well played from him. And it looks like, yeah, he and his teammate are going to be the last man standing, if you will, for this huge battle in the middle. Vortexia, you can see there, the loot, plenty of weaponry. You've got the shields, plenty of mats as well to be picked up. And now, of course, that brings players down to the player count down to 13 overall, George. Lovely job from Ads there.
Yeah, really well played, for sure. Needed to try and get out of there using the shockwave grenade, though. I've forgotten who that was using it. It was Heisenberg, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Needed to shockwave out of there because sticky situation. But as you can see here, taking perfect advantage of the. I don't even know what to call this gun anymore. I just called it the goop launcher. He just flies explosive goop at you, and you can see it's so good at taking down these buildings. It's definitely a weapon you want to have in your arsenal in the late game, trying to take down some of these builds.
Incredible as well. Both players having the weapon too makes a huge difference. So much damage actually put on that to Kilo before they've even got in shotgun distance there. Fantastic stuff. Vortexia cleaning that one up. Solo Link as well, flying in from the distance. But right now, the kills that they're stacking up, Ads and Vortexia, is really incredible. 5 kills in total between them both combined. Ads with the majority there with 4 kills. And now as well, they've got quite thorough zone control, if you will. Not too much high ground. You know, we are in the build mode, of course, so they can kind of build that themselves, unlike in the next match. But it seems like right now, these are perhaps the favorites to win it from what I've seen so far, George. And they have definitely an advantage here, it seems like.
Yeah, definitely. You can see Ghost, both of the Ghost players are still alive. They're looking to kind of creep their way around the edge of the storm. We're going to flick over to them now as they're healing up. It looks like they've had a hard battle, but as you can see, 4 kills on ties again. So leveling out with the scores of Vortexia as they're going to get pushed by Vortexia here. They're going to have to defensive build, get some builds down. A nice shotgun shot comes in. 9 shields left on ties. He's going to have to pop some of the shields here because, yeah, it's looking dangerous. When you've got this high ground, it makes it so difficult to get shots onto your aggressors, and they're going to try and build up here, build a ramp to try and challenge for that high ground. They've done really well with it, to be fair. They've to get that, but Vortexia is still coming in. He's going to get the kill onto ties, and he gets the kill onto his teammate as well. The Ghost team are eliminated, and PRM and Vortexia, GBG and Ads, they're looking good.
Oh, they are. That was excellent from them. Super aggressive once more. And Ghost, right? They didn't have any shockwave grenades themselves. They didn't have much mobility. They were just trying to build away. They were trying to literally escape from the clutches of Vortexia and Ads, but it was not to be for them this time around. 8 players remaining in total. We'll stick on board with Vortexia as they try and work their way out of this difficult situation now with the storm closing on them. You can see they were just healing through, building up their shields, trying to traverse what cover was already there. And now they are just going to check out where each of these players are, because currently it's not too good a position for them. They're kind of essentially pinched if you look at the minimap here. But we do see an engagement going on the other corner. Let's check out, in fact, what's going on there. Maka jumping on board with him. It seems like for a moment they're still not really engaging, as we have players, I believe they must be below them, right? Checking out this mini-map. Yeah, they are. Just scrolling through. Sad Tipsy, yeah, and Jammy just lurking down below now, as the rest of the teams are kind of split up.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult one here, definitely for Tipsy and Jammy, as you can see the bullets start to fly in, breaking down these builds, and really need to push for that high ground. They have 161 builds left, so they do have the potential to build up here and try to get on top of their opponents, but I'm going to wait for that storm to come in. I'm going to wait for that next circle, maybe. It is all about patience here. It is all about patience. It's all about which opponent can find the break first, which opponent can find the gap in the builds. You know, you need to be careful, though, because one bullet at this point in the match and could be biting the dust. Plenty of heals though for Tipsy, which is perfect, and plenty of mats as well, so should be a fairly comfortable situation.
Yeah, no kills actually for this team overall, so they will be trying really hard, I think, to get a good position, or the best position possible for this this round in particular. But perhaps it does go to suggest they don't really want any aggression. They want to avoid and be as passive as possible, based on their current choice, I guess, if you will, with strategy. But look at this. Overall, great viewpoint here. Mini drop just to the right of Ads and Vortexia, as they are essentially getting lasered from both sides. They're going to have to carry on building. Plenty of health and shields as it currently stands, but with that storm kind of closing in very fast from both sides very soon, this could be very, very difficult. Ads, so little health, very quickly building back up, but yeah, a lot of pressure being put their way. They're under so much aggression from either side that it's actually surprising that no one's really checked elsewhere while all that's going on.
Great use of the shockwave grenade there to get to a better vantage point. Going to build straight up to make sure they're on the same level as the other teams. And yeah, like I said there, Vortexia very low, but they do have the chug cannon. Many eye drops. Oh, Saith drops down very low there. Doesn't take any damage. Quick fingers to get the builds out, but this is very tense times. The teams are basically living on top of each other at the moment.
It is. Just checking back in with Vortexia and Ads. They have no longer got all that pressure being piled on top of them. They have some time to breathe. But you can see Mini eye drop just... Whoa, look at that. That was a shot from nowhere. Vortexia getting sniped down, I believe. That could cause a lot of problems. Jono as well is going to be taken down. Jammy Fine finding him. This is brilliant. Ads, can he save Vortexia now? The storm is coming in fast. I don't think he's being pushed right now. No, they have got time. They have got time to get the revives and some heals in. While the rest of the players kind of adjust.
They've only got shields left,
yeah,
so it's going to be just 30 HP on Vortexia, or was it? Yeah, Vortexia went down right on Ads. But either way, no heals. It's a very dangerous time. You can see they're going to launch out, going to try and get the high ground. Lots of builds going down, and it's going to be a battle to see who can get the highest builds.
Literally, this is the all-in play, if you will, from Vortexia. Ads has been lost. He is downed. He is right on the bottom of the floor. They essentially split up there as Vortexia just tried to find what cover he could. And now he is all in his zone. Vortexia right at the top of the map. 15 seconds until the zone finishes closing in this current sweep. You can see Vortexia just try to play his time in this moment. Meanwhile, Jammy Find and Sad Tipsy have their own little 2v2 against Maka and Safe. But boy, do both teams need to be as careful as possible now, knowing that Vortexia is probably lurking somewhere.
Yeah, Vortexia with 56 builds left. Not a crazy amount. Does need to be careful. Just going to laser out his builds. Jammy and Tipsy trying to make sure Vortexia can't do that, but it's a really, really well-placed shockwave grenade. Vortexia forced to build upwards. Needs to be careful. Very low on health, very low on shields. This could be the end for Vortexia. The shots come in.
Oh, Jammy. So much pressure here, isn't it? Such a difficult situation. Jammy right on top of him. Vortexia, not many builds below him either, so you have to be very careful when he doesn't get dropped. Shockwave grenade will certainly help him. The circle is closing rapidly, and I am surprised that Vortexia has been able to stay alive as long as he has. Now he will finally get taken down, as gravity is not on his side that time around. 2v2 remaining then, as all carnage breaks loose for these last two pairings.
Not much to be careful. And there it is. The dub is going to come out for Maka and Safe. They survive. They out-survive everybody. They get the eliminations, and they get the dub.
Yeah, there you have it then, folks. As we scroll through this scoreboard, you can see the Ghost team didn't have as good a game, perhaps, as they really wanted. But boy, was that end game something special. Maka and Safe, in the end, really did a fantastic job themselves of playing passive, I guess, in the past, right? Or rather, in the early and mid game. It was kind of the late game that they got the remaining kills, all those kills. And I mean, what else is there to say than perhaps playing strategically at the right times is all important here today in Belong Arena's week 1 of Fortnite. Yeah,
it definitely shows right there that it doesn't really... It matters once you get to the late game. You can see these teams that died a little bit earlier, you know, didn't get many eliminations, most likely because the first team they came across killed them. But you've really got to get to that end game, and that's where the opportunities open up the most. When your opponents are getting low on mats, they're getting low on heals, they're getting low on shields, and that's when the opportunities open themselves up. And you can see that there to perfection with the winners. Maka, perfect play. Got the high ground. Usage of the shot grenade was brilliant. It was just a really well played game overall, to be honest. And as you can see there, the people that we said that were going to potentially look to be the winners came 5th in the end. Played a good game though. 4 eliminations for Taze. It was a good game, but yeah, mini drop Jono with the most eliminations, but they couldn't pick up the dub in the end.
Yeah, very true. But a super entertaining first game, right? I was surprised, actually, George, that in many ways it was kind of slow at the start, the very, very start. But then the kind of the mid game just develops so fast into what is typically the end game, where loads of players will really stack up for the best positioning they can get in the zones. And despite having some passive play, right, as we noticed with some duos, we also had loads of aggressive play from a lot of these teams. In particular, Ads was super impressive, right? Him and Vortexia were perhaps some of the best players, maybe the two best players in that early to mid game, based on how many kills they accumulated. And it really does leave me more curious now going into the next match. It will be zero build. How will this influence things? Will we still kind of see the same aggression from the same players? Will we see the Ghost team perhaps come into their own? I think we're perhaps giving them loads of credit actually based on their names, George, as we don't know a huge amount about these guys. But no, this is something about them. There's something about them. I think we've seen enough from them now that we hope to see them perhaps perform a little bit better here in the second match. But based on those eliminations, right, overall, we have to mention they do count towards points, right? 2 points per kill, I have been told. And so sometimes aggression really does pay off. But of course, survival is the number one in Battle Royale.
Yeah, it is imperative to make sure you survive and pick up the win. But either way, it's a fantastic game, really well played by the teams. And yeah, no build. It's a completely different game mode. It's obviously a little bit faster paced, and I doubt we'll see as many. I doubt it will be as fast paced at the end game, but we'll have to see, because it should be exciting.
Absolutely should be. I don't know about you, George, but I cannot wait to get into it. So let's take a short break, and we'll be back with Belong Arena's week 1 of Fortnite. This time it will be zero build. Please don't go anywhere. It will be surely a fantastic game.
Feel like a bad girl. You make me feel like a bad girl. Make me feel like a bad girl. like a
into my bones and veins. Still feel seem to release this pain that you've planted inside me. You can take this from me, but you won't watch me bleed. You can take this from me, but you won't watch me bleed. Yeah, won't watch me bleed. Just right on the facing my way. I will show you crazy. Still feel you failing me. I can't seem to find peace. I can't let go. Every time you lose control, there's another blood I hold. When you stick and twist it now, so get the house. I'll show you crazy. It takes some time to realize it's not your fault. It took me time, my whole damn life, to find the power that's in my hands. To find the power, to find the power that's in my hands. You don't have a hold on me. I have a hold on myself. Just right on the facing my way. I'll show you crazy. and I'm falling down the stairs of your love. My name is easy, it's not so easy. You trust me that I'm making music. I wish I could touch with my vibe music during your motherfucking life. Last year again, I'm falling in love again. But if only you could see yourself in my eyes. But I know you're missing me in my music. My name is easy, it's not so easy. You trust me that I'm making music. I wish I could touch with my vibe music during your motherfucking life.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for game number 2 of Belong Arena Clash Week 1 for Fortnite. Toby Campbell here, casting alongside George Overton. And that first game was incredible. It was full build. We now go into zero build, as I just mentioned. And here are the scores. We tallied up the points, the kills, etc. And this is what we have come to now. Bristol Bandit leads there. You can see the top 5. Bristol Bandit, are on 33 points. Right behind them, Leicester 32. Stratford Athena, 32 as well. And you can see the remaining scores there. I think the first thing that jumps out to me personally, George, is Stratford Athena, right? Those are the players that we pointed to very frequently throughout that broadcast. They were the most aggressive for sure. That was, of course, GBG Ads and Vortexia. They were incredible. And currently they're joint second/third.
Yeah, very true. And also, Birmingham Shield in 5th as well. Ghost, Ties, and Tax or Tex. Sorry, I'm not too sure how to pronounce your name, man. I do apologize, but they're looking really good as well. Taze picked up 4 kills last game, I think it was, which is joint top for the highest kills. And as well, you can't look any further than Safe from the Bristol Bandits. Played a fantastic game and ended up picking up the dub as well. Picked his teammate up a couple of times, and they're at the top of the table for a reason. They're looking great, but going into a completely different game mode, which is no build, it's so crazily different. It's all about aim. It's all about finding those right timings, making sure you don't push out of rotation, all of these things. It's going to be interesting to see how the players adapt for sure.
And that's the thing. I think the end game really goes to show this more than anything, is that the fast movement and the exits from tricky situations, and even the aggression that I was just alluding to, right? Ads and Vortex here. Yes, they had shockwave grenades at times, right? And they were really using them to good effect, but it was the building, right? It was the editing that really allowed them to maneuver as they did and kind of go for those last minute pushes and kind of spend a little bit too much time in the storm at times, right? And so I do wonder, now that you remove all of that, is that going to cause radical changes strategically for players? I do wonder, especially the more aggressive teams like, as I said, Stratford Athena.
Yeah, for sure. I think the one thing I would say about no build is very important that you make sure you make your shots count. If you can get a sniper shot off, if you can get a really nice bolt action sniper shot off, that is probably the only shot you're going to get without them noticing you. So you need to make that first shot count. You need to try and take full advantage of, I guess, the stealth that you have. As you can see, players are coming in. Sad Tipsy. It does look like they're going to be going down to Silver Sound. Sleepy Sound. Sorry, not Silver Sound anymore. But there is going to be another team there as well. Jimmy going to be sitting on top of the house. Tipsy, I think, probably knows he's there. And they're going to drop down here. The thing about the chests in this area is you do get the Evo Chrome weapons, which are absolutely fantastic early game items. The Chrome shotgun, I've already said it. I said it last game. I think they're amazing. And you're pretty much guaranteed to get one out of every chest. So you're going to see the players now look to try and loot the areas, get their shields up. And, it's a good area to start the game. Personally, one of my favorites.
Yeah, very good point, for sure. And there's not too much competition, safe to say, for these loots, for the loot and for these boxes on this side, at least, of Shiny Sound. You can see Tipsy already stacking up quite nicely. Plenty of weaponry to select from, right, in this early game so far. No one has died yet, as you can see, top left of your screen, folks. At home, 34 out of 34, 17 teams in total. And yeah, I'm just going to quickly scroll through some of these cameras now just to see where a lot of these teams have chosen to actually start the game off at. Of course, you see Fort Jonesy here and the team Crook Lad. And we see Teaser as well, catching back up with Teaser Lad. Still scrolling over. This is perhaps a potential fight. And yep, there we go. Talisman Lalik very quickly finding Dark M. A lot of trouble actually for Cavaleo. Not much weaponry, I don't think he had for himself there, as he was just sprinting into them.
No, the Lever shotgun does a lot of damage, and Talisman and Heisenberg picking up a couple of kills, and one each, I think it was. So they're also going to get the loot from the opponents, and you can see Talisman just taking in the moment, making sure he enjoys every second of getting that kill.
Absolutely. Let's check out some more players then, shall we? Sad Tipsy, of course, we saw earlier. Well, looting away, plenty of space. Honestly, these guys are comfortable now. You see the Evo Chrome there just on our screen for a moment. Definitely, what a fantastic power weapon of power for these early stages. The burst rifles, as you alluded to earlier, in fact, and assault rifles in general. Perhaps not as prominent in the meta as of recent, though. So they're going to elect to actually leave that themselves. I'm curious, in fact. Tilted Towers. There you go. First time we see it on stream today.
Got 2 gold weapons already. Got the assault rifle, which is basically the AK, and the Hunter bolt action rifle, which, the gold version, if you hit somebody in the head with it, they die. It's very, very simple. You dome them, they go bye-bye. They literally get deleted off the screen. So lots of damage if you can hit that shot, and in no build mode, it does make it a little bit easier to hit those kind of shots because, well, there's no buildings. It makes it a little bit harder for the opponents to hide around the bushes. Also got, around the builds. Also got a couple of shield kegs as well, which are really, really handy, giving you 100 shield. Basically guarantees you the full build. And I see Aram's teammate actually going to get himself themselves a little drop, potentially a gold gun there.
Yep, super useful. Really good start for these guys. And speaking of starts, their team, Birmingham Palisade, they're currently number 10 in that scoreboard, if you will, out of the 17 teams. So kind of that midway point. They'll definitely be looking to perform a little bit better in this game now, especially with this really good start in the very famous Tilted Towers, right? Since the game first came out. They've gone all in, I guess, going into that arena at the start, and their loot has definitely shown them that perhaps it was worth it. That little inherent risk of going there. Now, catching up with Ads and Vortexia, we were talking about them last game. We were talking about them before the start of this game too. Are they going to have trouble now that they haven't got their builds? You know, they can't really flex their building skills and their aggression as much as they'd like. Perhaps they need to be a bit more passive this time. Perhaps they'll need to play a little bit more conservative, both, you know, in their positioning, but also, you know, how aggressive they are in terms of how they hunt down kills. Will they continue chasing players? Will they continue being perhaps risky as they were with regards to the Storm and whatnot? I wonder.
Well, you can see Ads there getting the call in a drop. So you get a choice of either choosing a heals and shields drop. You also get to choose a weapon cache drop. And I forget what the third one is. I think it's like a loot llama drop or no, it's a car. It's a car drop. You can drop yourself in a truck. So that was a new item added very recently and being used there. But yeah, like you said, will it affect them that they can't play as aggressively? I feel like that builds are definitely a very important part of build mode, as it is in the name. But I also think that if you can build but you can't shoot, you know, it's like having one without the other. You need to have both. And in no build mode, if you're good at aim, you're going to get yourself a lot of kills because it does really focus in on that aim aspect of the game. But we'll have to see how they do get on, as we're going to switch it on over to Misty, who is still alive this time around. Did die fairly early on, and they're going to be going into the Chrome Tornado. Getting a little bit stuck by the looks of things. Not too sure what's going on.
Yeah, I think they're just buying time for themselves, honestly. They're literally relaxing in the eye of the storm, quite, you know, figuratively speaking, and quite literally of looking at this tornado, and I think they are just buying themselves time right now. They've got the goop gun, I guess, if we can continue calling it that. 2 trampolines as well. A beautiful shoot off into the air is exactly what those launch pads would be very useful for. And with that, the storm will be coming in any second. Let's see. Are they going to move out and use this to thrust themselves forward? Yes, they are. They are literally playing as slow as possible and avoiding engagements, it seems like, as they do progress on with their journey. As I continue to cycle on through, we're down to 26 players out of 34. And yeah, still plenty of teams, plenty of players are still lurking towards the end of those safe zones, right? By the storm, trying to maximize that loot, which I'm not surprised about, honestly, given the environment. But again, with it being zero build, I wouldn't be surprised if players kind of start running a little bit earlier, try and get that natural map advantage, those high points that you can't get this time around just by building upwards. Yeah,
very true. I mean, it is, for me, in no build mode, it is really a fight for who can get that high ground. If you can get on top of a hill, you're going to be in a very favourable situation. And I don't know if we can toggle up the full map, but we can try to take a look at where we think the storms are going to come in at. So it's probably going to come around somewhere in Greasy Grove, Rocky Reels territory. It doesn't usually finish above Tilted, but either way, it does look like we are going to be in for a fairly open final battle. As you can see, the teams are all fairly split up still at the moment. We are going to be seeing yellow and green team taking a little bit of a tangle. N-Star going to be taking out one of the teammates, Ads and Vortexia, looking to try and get the kill on Misty potentially, but don't know they're there. So they are going to launch pad away and potentially look to take another fight against Ghost Team. It's Ads and Vortexia versus the Ghost Team. Are they going to take this fight now? It's going to be interesting if they do.
Yes, it is. We'll catch up as soon as we can with them, but certainly the aggression has continued, it seems like, for Vortexia and Ads. Right now, they're just running back on into cover. I think Misty is still lurking in that bush. He lost his teammate and then instantly just went to ground, and it seemed like Vortexia and Ads did not want to continue on with that mission as they were starting to get shot up themselves. But yeah, just seeing in kind of this general area now, Jimmy and Crimson Curry just to his left, the continued balance of power. Vortexia and Ads continue to shift it. They continue to get great loadouts and great loot. And here we go. Jimmy ran in front. Vortexia straight through the door, instantly dispatching with the first player. And now, where is the remaining player? They're probably asking themselves. Crimson Curry just outside. And plenty of loot to play with for these guys.
Plenty of loot indeed. We'll have to see if Crimson Curry can maybe survive, get his teammates card, but there is two of the top teams. Yeah, he just gets lasered down, doesn't even get a chance. But now, Vortexia knows where Texans has is. They are going to look for them, and they're going to take on this fight now. It's going to be a dangerous one. Who's going to come out on top?
Ooh, you can just tell, looking at these players, they want to continue getting as many kills as they can. Vortexia again chipped away quite a bit there, with a little bit of damage there from range, but immediately showing the utmost respect for the opponents in Ghost just up ahead. But fairly decent positioning, right, George? There's still quite a minute now until the zone will be, or the storm will fully come in, so they do have time to work with. You can see they're getting straight to the top of the roof to get as full sight of the general area around them. There we go, the launch pad finally coming out for them, and will immediately insert themselves into the safety of the new circle. 19 players remaining, and it does seem like these players are not holding up at any point.
Yeah, it was smart though from Birmingham Shields to back off there and just accept that the storm was coming in. They need to potentially look to get to a higher ground. As looking in here, Linky and Kuyao going to be currently sitting on the Flutter Barn, which is one of the cooler areas to go to. One of the newer POIs on the map at the moment. But as you can see, the hammer is probably the gun that most of the players do look to go for. So if you're looking for the most meta assault rifle, the hammer it is. It's a bit of a banger. It's just the attack speed on it and the fact that it doesn't really have too much recoil. Just makes it really good at just lasering people down. And the fact that in no build mode you can get a lot of headshots in. A solo Linky is going to get some shots off, doesn't take any. Hits one on teaser, but can't hit many more, and he is going to take a few to the dome from Crooklab. Takes about 100 damage there, but it looks like it is going to be an all-out battle. Gets a headshot off on Tizer. The explosive goo gun going to come out, and they're kind of wondering where to go here. It's a very, very dangerous position for the lads.
Ooh, I'm not sure if that was accidental, actually, from Solo Linky, because he's just completely left his teammate in the dust there. The storm, yeah, he needed to move fairly soon, but I think he went into and launched away just by accident, George. Surprising, actually. I think he was just trying to get an angle on the players below. They had such an advantage, but suddenly, his teammate was taken out. He was forced to eject out of there.
Slight bit of miscommunication, I think. Maybe Linky probably said, well, we need to move. We need to hit this jump pad to get to the other side, and the teammate was in no position to do so, as Linky needs to be careful here. There's a lot of teams hovering around him as we're going to switch to the Ghost team. Birmingham Shield once again looking to get into the top teams, the top last teams in the placings. A very good loadout for Texas, but only 2 bullets on the sniper, which is worrying. No heals either, so only the minis, but teammate might have some. Either way, we are going to be ending it inside or just outside of Tilted Towers. There are going to be a few buildings around that people can hide in, but it is going to be fairly open. And this isn't the final zone, so we might be pushed out a little bit into more open territory, which will be very, very dangerous.
Truly so. And you can kind of see the zero build nature being reflected in the weapon choice of a lot of these players. You see more assault rifles, right? You do see, again, that sniper in Tex's hands. Yes, 2 shots, but man, oh man, they could truly come in useful in a pinch, given or even this environment, right? If players are just going to hide in windows or tilted towers, and a snipe could be very useful, in fact. But Aram and Icy still lurking right at the top there. You can see top left, Crooklad being dropped himself, and there we go. There is Icy catching back up with him right to the top of tilted, and that has huge height advantage. You can see them utilizing it right now, shooting across, just try and find Jono, but not a huge amount of cover from the left and right, you can see. And so, yeah, actually, wow, okay. I was about to ask, are they going to actually go for these kills and go for these eliminations? Yes, they are. Abandoning that height advantage, they want to go straight in for those extra points.
I see. They're all sneaking up on him, and he takes a lot of damage, and he gets absolutely melted. Aram still a little bit further away, and as you can see, like I said, the zone is going to be right in the middle of nowhere. It's going to be so difficult. Oh no, Aram, don't do it, Aram. Oh no, they know. Bandits, and he goes down. He drops all his loot. Oh no, it's absolutely, it's terrifying.
Absolutely. I mean, I am just so shocked that they went from literally the best position on the map, arguably in many ways, to split up completely and just being destroyed as they walk in. And Aram being split up completely. I mean, okay, well, there you go. That was surprising, to say the least. Sad Tipsy catching back up with him and Jammy Fine. They've been doing just fine, it seems like. Still playing a bit more of a slow game, catching back up with Crooklad. He was downed earlier, actually, but he is back to life, finding Solo Link, that player who was on his own after perhaps an accidental launch away from his teammate earlier. You can see a little bit of loot there and some time to work with to get to the next circle. But check the mini-map, folks. They're right at the edge there, following the white line directly to the new zone. There is literally a team waiting there. Meanwhile, check the kill feed. Ghost Tex is being dropped.
Wow, Ghost Tex going down. That is a big surprise. I think it was a sniper shot that maybe killed him.
Yeah, I think that's Ghost out. I'm scrolling through the cameras. I can't find his teammate. Ad's under a little bit of pressure here, as everyone is kind of converging in this position. Ad's being caught in the back. 2 figures as well, being pinched by his teammate Vortexia. 15 HP. Ooh. Cannot get away. Shot from a distance from Sad Tipsy, who they are still held up in that outhouse across the way. Wow, quite a bit of carnage actually going on in this, I guess, early end game, if you want to say, at this point in time, given the circle and the players and the teams dropping like flies, seemingly. Vortexia is going to get a kill as well on Bog Beast elsewhere. Let's catch back up with him as he can see his teammate just below Ads on relatively low health. They'll destroy the wolves around them, but yeah, it's a precarious time, I think, for a lot of these players.
But man, Vortexia did really well to clutch up in that situation, get the kill, pick his teammate up, and now they're looking in a really good position here as they're healing up. One more splash left to go, potentially going to use it to heal up Adds to full, but looking really good here. Looking really good here for this team, as they played really well in the previous game. I know they didn't pick up the win, but 5 kills in the first game for Vortexia, and Stratford Athena's looking real good going into these final moments. And this is going to be difficult for Taze. He's going to have to shockwave away, and he does well to get out of that situation, but this is looking dire. Ooh. And it's a sniper shot to the head from Az, and it's an absolute bullet across the map. Absolutely rocks him.
Brilliant job from Ads there, cleaning up some more kills. 6 kills in total for these guys now, and the game isn't even over yet. What a fantastic game they've been having once again here, despite some very arduous moments, it's safe to say. With 5 players remaining, we have a player on their own. Just checking that loot. Look at all that weaponry. I was going to say earlier, George, actually, that the loot was actually quite good for the player, but then Ads literally just snipes him straight in the back. Perhaps he thought he was a little bit safer than he actually was there, as they sneaked up around this side of the map.
Yeah, Ad's just sitting, trying to see what he can see on the other side of the hill. As you can see now, all the players going to be converging on this one spot. They've got their eyes on Tipsy and Jammy.
Oh, I love this. They know exactly where the players are. They have to go all in for this 2v2 and trying to avoid the pinch. Ads just jumping up and down, crouching to avoid as many shots as they can. Plenty of rifle usage. Sad Tipsy dropped towards the bottom of that hill and essentially a mountain. It was vertical, no builds to help them out. Great push from these guys, and it brings them down to a very simple 2v1 now due to that hard work. And they all need to just throw in and pile in on Jono. Look at that damage. It's so simple for these guys with not much health remaining. Jono, I'm surprised he's still alive. Actually checking to see how he's going to navigate this. He's not. It's simple as that. Well done, Ads, there to finalize that last kill. Check out the kills in the end as they get the victory royale. 9 in total for these two players. Brilliant job from them.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. I would say they maybe deserved to win the first game, but they just about lost out. But this game, they definitely deserved it. They absolutely bossed it. And you can see all across the board, there were some really good games from some of the players. But some of the players that performed in the first match didn't necessarily perform in the second match. And you've got to say, no build and build mode are very, very different things. And you can see that here as if we have a look back up again, I think it was Taze and Tex. Again, I'm going to struggle to pronounce their name. The Ghost team, Birmingham Shield. They did struggle a little bit here in this game. I know one elimination just for Taze. Last game got 4. So a very big difference there. And Heisenberg and Talisman, 1 kill apiece as well. It was a little bit different in the first game. They managed to pick up, I think it was 1 kill apiece in the first game as well, actually. No, 2 kills and 1 kill. So 3 kills as a duo. So, yeah, lots of changes here, but it is to be expected. But honestly, mad congratulations to the winners of Vortexia and Ads. They really, really deserve to win this game.
They absolutely dominated, and it seemed like I was completely wrong in the assumption that Zero Build would perhaps slow them down more than anyone else in the game, but in fact, it just sped them up. Right? It was absolutely fantastic how they navigated that. And they've truly proven, right, that as you were saying earlier, right, George, it's not only about shooting in Fortnite, it's not only about building. You kind of have to be able to do both. When you come to Zero Build, shooting definitely takes the prominent factor there, clearly. And they proved that they are absolutely not reliant on building alone at all. You know, they were excellent in how they played.
Yeah, really well played by those two players. They, like I said, you've got to be good at both things. You've got to be good at building and you've got to be good at shooting. And they didn't build in that game because it was no build, but they shot very, very well and they ended up picking up the win. But yeah, fantastic game. And we've still got one more coming up.
We do. What a fantastic performance it was from Ads and Vortexia in particular. Stratford Athena, they were third, actually. Joint second / third after the first game. I'm pretty sure that's going to shoot them up to first place now, but we'll get all that confirmed for you folks at home. And one more notable, duo we should probably point out is Aram and Icy. They had such a great start, right? They had fantastic loot, right? They were the top of Tilted Towers, literally, right at the top of almost the skybox of the map. They had all the control in the world, and suddenly it all just fell apart for them. They split up. They got one player just ran into a room on their own and essentially got 2v1'd, right? Aram was left to his own devices, and I think it's fairly disappointing for them. This was a team that were their Birmingham Palisade. They were actually number 10 before the first game, or rather after the first game. I think they're probably going to stay around that area, maybe even drop, despite what was a promising start to game number 2 and mid game, but perhaps some mistakes there for sure.
Yeah, Aram and Icy, it was a big throw, in my opinion. They were on top of the world. They had the ship to themselves. They could have waited to see where the next storm zone would have taken them, then used the blades to kind of go up in the air and fly down. But yeah, they had everything they could have possibly hoped for, and we'll have to see if they can improve next game.
Well, I can't wait, George, to get all these scores, kills, eliminations, etc. Confirmed and all the points tallied up to see who leads in that top 5 position. Something does tell me it's probably Stratford Athena. We'll check out that after the break, and we'll have our final game of the night, match number 3 here for today, coming right up. And of course, we'll see who will kind of topple everyone else now as we go back into the building mode to see if that influences the scorings in the end. Guys, do not go anywhere. I hope you're enjoying the broadcast so far. We will not be long.
You make me, you make me, you make me feel like a bad girl. You make me, you make me, you make me feel like a bad girl. Make me feel like a bad girl. You make me like a bad girl. You make me feel. You make me feel like a bad girl. You make me. You make me. You make me feel like a bad girl. Feel like a bad girl.
feel you feeling me. I can't seem to release this pain that you've planted inside me. You can take this from me, but you won't watch me bleed. You can take this from me, but you won't watch me bleed. You won't watch me bleed. Just right on the face in my way. I'll show you crazy. Still feel you feeling me. I can't seem to find peace. I can't let go. Every time you lose control, there's another blood I hold. Twisting and twisted now. So get those roads. Just right on the face in my way. I'll show you crazy. It takes some time to realize it's not your fault. It took me time, my whole damn life, to find the power that's in my hands. To find the power, to find the power that's in my hands. You don't have a hold on me. I have a hold on myself. Just right on the face in my way. I'll show you crazy.
It's enough having you. Never let someone tell you that
falling down the stairs of your spine. I hope I am myself, it's not falling down the stairs of your love. My name is busy, it's not too easy. You trust me that I'm making music. I wish I could touch with my music during your motherfucking life. Lost you again, I'm falling love again. But if only you could see yourself in my eyes. But I know you missing me in my music. My name is busy, it's not too easy. You trust me that I'm making music. I wish I could touch with my music during your motherfucking life.
Welcome back, folks. It's time for the conclusion for week one of Fortnite for the Belong Arena Clash. Toby Campbell casting alongside George Overton, and we have, I think, a really good game coming up for us based on what we've seen so far, George. And here, of course, is how things have turned out points-wise. Top five, as you can see, Stratford, Athena, no surprise there, George. They're leading right up in front with 75 points.
Yeah, very true. 2 kills for Vortexia in the first game, 7 in the second game. 4 for ads in the first game and 2 in the second game. And, well, they picked up the dub in the second game. And, well, to be honest, they look like the strongest team so far in this tournament. And it will be an absolute pleasure to see how they get on in the third and final game. But they aren't the only team in the tournament. We also have the Leicester Tooth, who, you know, I dropped Mini and Jono. They looked good. They looked good in that second game. But I will say that it's going to be very, very difficult for them to take over the Athenas. It depends on, can somebody get an upset kill on Ads? Ads and Vortex are in this third and final game. If somebody can kill them early, you never know. We could potentially have somebody different on the top spot.
Yeah, and Lesser Tooth in particular, those two players, Jono and of course Mini Drop, they kind of moved up quite fast up that top 5 due to the last game, right? And so that was a really good matchup for them. They were kind of lurking in the background. Us as casters weren't really talking about them too much, but they really had a formidable performance and threw themselves up that top 5. Meanwhile, you have had teams that have been a little bit distant and not had the best of performances, it's safe to say. Some mistakes here and there. Of course, though, we'll have to keep our eyes on the top dogs, right? Ads and Vortexia. They're still very much the favorites, not only overall, but I think for this third game in general. Just based on the raw skill we've seen so far, George, wouldn't be surprised if they go all the way and just win third match outright too.
Yeah, 100%. It will definitely be an interesting one to see as the players are hopping onto the battle bus and we're getting ready to jump out. But I think that it will be very, very difficult for any of these teams looking to topple the Stratford Athenas. But here we go. We are getting into game and we are underway, and we're seeing a lot of people drop off the bus early. Maybe some potential clashes in some of the early POIs.
Yeah, great point for sure. I will cycle through the players as quick as I can because I have a feeling, right? We go back to full build now. We no longer have only the guns to work with. If you are these players, if you are Jono, for example, and Mini Drop, you do have the returning covers that you can use, the walls, the ramps to gain the height advantage that previously you were not able to access. And it also, has that benefit of just keeping players on their toes as well. And I do have full confidence in, say, Vortexia and Ads to really utilize the build's potential to their full potential, right? And to gather as much loot as they can early on, and also kind of use the builds to continue this aggression they've had.
Well, you can see here they're going to pop their fruits on their trees, and they're going to get some purple guns, and I think Vortexia actually got a legendary, so we're going to see a purple ranger and a purple leather shotgun and a gold ranger, which is very, very important for Vortexia. It's probably, it's the best they are in terms of actual raw damage. If you can hit them headshots and you can get them taps out, it's not really a spraying gun, it's more of a you kind of tap at distance, but we'll have to see how it gets on. It does a lot of damage to builds as well, so we will have to see. But yeah, Vortexia and Ads, this is the place they went last game. They went to Rave Cave previous game, and it does look like it is the POI they like to go to the most. It is their favourite place to drop, and well, it's a very reliable place for loot as well. Plenty of chests, and as you can see here, plenty of slurp barrels as well that you can hammer down, and you can get to 100 health fairly easily. Plenty of chests around as well if you want to look for those. But yeah, it's pretty much one of the best places to go if you can zone out the blaring rave music as soon as you enter the cave. Yeah, and the Ghost Squad over there, Birmingham Shield, currently over on the other side of Rocky Reels. I always forget it's the barn. I always forget the first part of it, but It is a good place to drop. Me and my housemate, we play quite a lot of Fortnite, and that is one of our favourite places to drop. It's got a good amount of loot, and to be fair, it is one of the more uncontested places. Rocky Reel's usually heavily contested, and as you can see here, the Ghost Squad looking to move in aggressively, which is something we didn't see from them in the previous games. A couple of shots going to come out from Jimmy. A little bit of damage will come down, and Heisenberg, well, look at that high ground that the Ghost team have. Jimmy going to be forced to defensively build and move away as he has taken quite a lot of damage, missing 87 shield in total, and that is a very dangerous spot for players to be. Up there on the top of that building, it is a very difficult place to contest. Oh! Oh, 100%. That was a complete out of rotation play there from Crimson. You just need to be really careful in those kind of situations. You can't afford to push up, and Ghost's going to have a few shots fired at him. Going to pick himself a purple lever, so that's going to be really important for him in the late game team fights when people are pushing through walls. Does a lot of damage if he can find the headshots with it. And plenty of trees around. Going to pick the weeds, see what kind of fruit they can get off of it. Maybe a legendary, who knows, or nothing at all in this situation. But really well played from the Ghost team to come back there and find that kill, because it was a very difficult. It's a difficult position when you've got somebody pushing up at you. You have to remain resilient. You have to be confident in your play, and they did that just then. Jimmy all alone, waiting for this package to drop down. What's he gonna get himself? A purple Ranger shotgun. One shot, long reload time. Not the best gun for this situation.
Yeah, that's for sure. Nice little launch pad for Jimmy, though. That's very important, given him no longer having his teammate by his side, and lots of very aggressive players, in fact, in not only the Ghost guys, but also their adversaries right now who are challenging them from above. Talisman right there, essentially in Ty's sight. Now I do wonder, is the pressure going to continue? Talisman actually dropping all the way down to try and fully engage with Ghost here. So confident. Shield's completely gone. Meanwhile, his teammate, there's Heisenberg, dropping in from behind. So much damage put Tex's way, while also taking down his teammate. Let's see. Well, right, Tex is the one who's going to be taken down. Ty's still has a little bit of health. I want to say full health, but not much shield. There we go. Immediately being ripped away as Heisenberg pushes in for the kill, immediately dropping them. What a push that was from this team. And yeah, it was kind of playing at Ghost's own playbook, right? Push super aggressively from the top and immediately thrust in below with the shotguns. Excellent play from them.
Yeah, really good edits to come down, and well, they just pushed straight through the builds and got their own down, got the edits out, and yeah, just really well played from Heisenberg and Talisman. I feel like they've been a little bit unlucky the past couple of games. I just from watching them play, they do seem like one of the more confident duos, and we've seen a few kills come out from them, but they've not really made it right till the end of the game. Not since game one. Game two was a little bit harder for them, but we'll have to see how they can do here, because it is obvious they are confident with their builds. We will have to see how they get on, but that will be Birmingham Shield knocked out in game three, and that will definitely be a sour one for them to take, as that very well might mean that they will drop out of the top four. Could even drop out of the top five, depending on how the other teams do get on. But yeah, it's a good situation here from Heisenberg. Only 36 builds left though, so really need to get on that materials grind. Need to start trying to break some trees and some buildings down.
That's for sure. By the way, this team of Talisman, Lilac, at Heisenberg. They are Maiden City Echo. They are 7th place currently in the standing, 39 points. Going into this game, that is, as of the end of game 2. So they have gained some eliminations, that's for sure. Just 2 for Heisenberg, but they were really great ones. And they have seen perhaps the next opponents here in Crimson. And Jimmy, here comes the push from Jimmy, actually out of nowhere, immediately pushing right on top of Heisenberg. And his teammate very quick indeed to build around and play it safe. Pause for a moment to see what on earth Jimmy was thinking, because he is not in the best of positions. He's managed to get Crimson Curry back into the game, his teammate, but in terms of loot, in terms of resources in general, right, that would have hurt them. They would have really taken a lot of time. Meanwhile, Heisenberg and Talisman Lilac, they were able to take down Ghost. Previously, they took, of course, Crimson Curry down. They've been able to gather loot, and yeah, they're not too stressed, George. They're going to continue on with their journey, if you will, towards the safety of the next zone as it does approach the storm. And we're still at just 23 players left in this game, so a little bit slower, it seems like to me, George, so far.
Yeah, we just saw, I don't know if you saw in the top left, we saw Birmingham Palisade, Aram just eliminate, I think it was Misty from the Sun. So that is going to be difficult for them. And as you can see, N-Star going to eliminate both of the players over from Birmingham Palisade. I'm not sure if that was from the Storm, but it did look like Aram and Icy both went down there.
Yeah, that's surprising for sure, given what has been great moments from those players. Very unfortunate to see, in fact, once again, kind of getting a bit lackluster of a position in this game, it seems like. Birmingham Palisade probably not too happy again. We kind of see the similar strategy from before, right? Kieran and his teammate Crispy kind of just lurking in this Chrome Tornado, just kind of buying time, as they do have somewhat decent loot, right? They have the launch pads, they have the mobility, they have some health, shields, they have everything going for them right now in that regard. Not too powerful weapon-wise. So, they've chosen to just play a little bit slow and buy the time, if you will. Meanwhile, Maka and Shenron catching back up with them. They're going to be mobilizing around in general, and it looks like Kappa Leo just on his own here. I do wonder if they're aware of everyone's presence around them.
Maka going to be pushing up in this Chrome Blob form. Same with his teammate Shenron. They don't actually know that they're here. I think I think Capabello might hear them, but they definitely don't know he's down there, so it could be a potential situation for them to make a push. I like to take the high ground on the statue, try and spot out some teams, and they do see Jammy there.
Yeah, I think
have a little flick through
sure.
And see. Oh my goodness, N-Star currently taking a little bit of damage from the storm, but 2 ticks per second, not too bad, but definitely a little bit uncomfortable.
That's for sure. I was just scrolling through the cameras there, George, for a quick second, because we did lose actually Talisman and his teammate. They got dispatched relatively quickly, it seemed like, as they didn't have much competition around them, and they seemed to get to safety relatively quickly, but then instantly getting taken out. Meanwhile, Maka as well, he's now been dropped. In fact, Jammy has been able to collapse on him very quickly, catch him back up with Crooklad from earlier as well. He's lost his teammate, so there's been a lot of carnage actually in this game. Lots of teammates being dropped relatively quickly. We still see Vortex here and ads as well at full strength, but there's lots of players around them. Not many eliminations so far, and what do you know, they've got the good gun as well, and they're immediately lighting up Sad Tipsy and Jammy over there, removing shields, but not much else, as they do need to be very careful though, George, looking at the minimap.
Yeah, still a lot of damage though coming out, and it will force them to burn some more shields, which, as the storm, the safe zone shrinks, it does limit the options of finding extra shields, and it does make it a lot harder. So burning through the shields, pounding your enemies, making sure just checking them a little bit, making sure that they've got shields on them. It is a smart thing to do, and yeah, the goo gun it definitely is very, very useful in build mode. It makes it so easy for you to break down these builds and does so much damage. But Vortexia looking to try and find some sort of opening, see if he can get some shots out. Misty and N-Star currently on the beachfront, soaking up some sun, getting a little bit of a tan maybe.
That's for sure. You can see Jammy catching back up with him and Sad Tipsy despite all that pressure. They have done just fine, right? They've regained their shield. Again, they've still got the 2 launch pads for Jammy, so despite being kind of really at the end of this current zone, they do have the mobility to launch themselves into the later game, if you will, and the better positioning. That will definitely be required. There you go. You can see they have quite a track actually compared to the other teams remaining to zone, but relative safety in front of them. Meanwhile, back to Vortexia and Ads. Let's see how they do navigate now with a little bit of pressure building up around them. It seems like they should be just okay. They've been doing great with the building and the editing. Clearly, they do want to kind of lean into a bit more of a turtling, right? And I'm sure they're aware of the point situation, so they're perhaps playing a little bit more safe, a bit more strategic. They're not really engaging in any high-risk scenarios now as they were in game 1 and 2. They've got the kind of that foundation of points. Now they just want to make sure, I think, securing a really good position for them can kind of guarantee that they finish on top here at the end.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, with the 0-0 kills, that is going to be hard for them. There are going to be other teams that are picking up a couple more kills. When if they're going to play it safe, I get it. But if you don't pick up the win here with 0 kills, yeah, it's going to be very, very difficult for them to stay on top. But we will have to see as we're going to switch back over to Misty, who did survive, took a lot of damage in the storm, and Crispy here, as you said, turtling up, making sure they're nice and protected, but going to be taking a little bit of damage from Jammy as they look to push up on them. Going to launch pad the hell out of there. It did look a bit dangerous, but as you can see, the storm zone is getting very, very small, and that is a lot of damage. Vortexia is just going to drop Crispy, drop them to their knees, and that was a lot of damage, and what an aim that was from Vortexia.
I was about to say, those were some accurate shots from Vortexia. He pretty much did all of that on his own, right? From the fortification they had earlier. As I scroll through the cameras quickly to try and catch up with the action, everyone has kind of been forced out of their relative positions from before, right? They've been able to continue having some control as Jammy and Sad Tipsy, thanks to their aggression, kind of took the previous fortification as Crispy and Co kind of ran for their lives, right, and launched out of there. Meanwhile, Crispy's still down. He's certainly not going to be saved at this point, but Vortexia and Ads did drop down to try and find that loot that they honestly really well and truly earned with the accurate shots of Vortexia there. That was truly stunning. Meanwhile, Jimmy as well finding a kill elsewhere, and Campableo, by the way, still alive. Still alive. Barely, but still alive after seeing him earlier.
That's impressive, considering that only got a submachine gun, the SMG, and the Ranger shotgun as well. Very, very impressive. 63 builds. Got 200 health because of the passive shield. And yeah, looking pretty good for Campableo. Jimmy, though, going to come down. They definitely don't know he's in the bush. They definitely don't. So just going to be patient, wait up, continue the bush camp, and see how far they can get. Because the thing is, at this point, you could just wait out. You could just wait and see what happens. You might get down to a one-on-one. Who knows? Maybe somebody's teammate dies.
And he's on his own in a very competitive match here. So, yeah, I would not have any
I'm not putting my money on them,
for him.
But you never know.
You never know. You never know, right? And now I can see there, Misty and N-Star, they've got a great position actually up there. As it currently stands, that is. Lots of shots being sent their way, though. Look at this. Look at the pressure has just been piled onto them. Their fortifications disappearing beneath their feet. And I think, yeah, that was Vortexia and Ads mainly. They are throwing as much as they can against them. 4 HP is N-Star now. And in fact, he's going to be taken down just like that, courtesy of Ads. That is insane damage put their way. And Misty, he was okay, right? He's got 40 shield, 100 health. A far different story for his teammate, but he is now on his own. And you've got the hungriest players in this lobby who currently lead in the position, looking for him in amongst these buildings.
Yeah, the thing is, Vortexia and Ads have the chug launcher. They can heal up very easily, and they're never going to run out. It kind of ticks over time, and you can see here, Kieran currently sitting above the storm, just waiting to see where it goes. You are going to have to leave with it eventually, but yeah, getting to a bit of a higher placement. But as you can see here, Tipsy looking to laser down Crimson Curry, finds a knock. Can they find the second though? Are going to look for the push. You can see Tipsy here building defensively, making sure to cover his backside. They're going to push in for Crim. Jimmy currently sitting just a little bit further up. Going to launch away. They're going to find the kill onto Crimson. So they're going to get all Crimson's mats. They're going to get all Crimson's heals. Very, very nice indeed. But Tipsy needs to be careful here.
They've been having a really difficult game, actually. This match number 3, Tipsy and Jammy. But they've had their fair share of aggression. They've been able to survive a lot of pushes themselves and damage put their way. So really big shout out to them. They deserve the credit for that. 6 players remaining, 4 teams in total. Jimmy on his own. Oh my, is he going to be piled on relatively soon? Not much in the way of health. And 0 teammate remaining, as Crimson Curry was taken down once more after being revived earlier. As I'm just scrolling through the players to check, kind of getting an insight into their goals next, right? You can see Vortexia and Ads are clearly still the most proactive duo in the game. They do have the height advantage currently. I think Kieran is still kind of at the very top of the map, but has he just dropped down? No. Yes, he has. Yes, he has. Right to the bottom, actually, of them as they immediately spot that. Vortexia is really yearning for that kill, it seems like, as he drops down hunting for him. But no, Kieran instantly enters the battle and very quickly exits it as he's taken down with 5 players remaining.
Sexy though, going to come down, going to find Jimmy. Now it's a 2v2. Texture and Ads, can they pick up their second win of the day? Tipsy and Jammy so far down. Plenty of shields and also the shockwave grenades as well for Vortexia. Yeah, that's going to come out, Jammy. Going to be looking to try and find the players, but it's so difficult to navigate these builds when there are just so many.
So true. So true. Great editing, great building, great mechanics clearly on show from Vortexia here in these closing moments. Boy, if they can finalize this 2v2 and win it dominantly after such an incredible performance overall, it would really show they are the duo to be reckoned with for the long term. He is hunting them down, isn't he? Oh my, still looking, editing his way. Jammy and Tipsy just running for their lives, managing the storm. Look at this, just chasing through walls continually, and Vortexia not letting up at all.
Absolutely crazy. Vortexia and Ads are going to use that chug cannon once again. Get some damage down. Jammy goes down. Ads gets the kill, and now it's just a 1v1 or 2v1. Tipsy, he goes down. It's going to be Ads to pick up the kill. That's the 3rd for him. Vortexia with 4, and that will be the victory royale going their way once again. A huge victory, and that pretty much guarantees they will be top of the leaderboard at the end of the day. And we were saying towards the back end of that game, they're playing it a little bit safe, maybe 0 kills, but at the end of the game is where they absolutely thrive. Ads and Vortexia getting a majority of kills, cleaning up the squads, and look absolutely fantastic in their game.
Yeah, couldn't say about myself. I think they played that excellently strategically. Clearly they have the mechanical skill, right, to do pretty much what they want, it seems like, in this matchup, right? That seems to be the case, but they still took that initiative to play a little bit slower in the early game, despite having fantastic loot immediately from the drop, right? Having legendary weapons, of course, full shields, some competition around them, and clearly they elected to hold out a little bit towards the end. And then as we scroll up to the top, we can see their kills. There are the eliminations in total 7. Once again, more than 5 kills between them both is huge in of itself, but to have that twice in a row and also finalize with that finish too in such aggressive, confident fashion with editing, building on point. The goop gun, clearly, as we've been calling it ourselves, has been a really important tool, I want to say, from them both. They used it amazingly. Lots of weapons used perfectly, and they were just as effective in 0 build as they were in full build. So there's nothing really to criticize about their play, and as a result, they really thoroughly deserve that number one position.
Yeah, 100%. The goo gun, as we like to call it, yeah, it's really good. If somebody's got that high ground, you can spray it all around the bottom of the build, and it just clears it out all in one blast, pretty much. So it is a very, very effective tool in build mode. In no build mode, it is good. It does a lot of damage if you can hit it onto the player, but it's nothing too crazy. But yeah, really, really well played from Ads and Vexonia, or sorry, completely butchering the names again, but yeah, really well played from them to pick up the dub. And two wins in one day, you've got to be happy about that.
Yeah, hugely so. It's just kind of that consistency, right? It's not only the 2 wins, it's also from game 1 to game 3 being a extremely dominant pairing that didn't really let up too much. In the odd case, a little bit of passiveness at the start of game 3. I'm not going to criticize them on that at all, because it just makes total sense as I went through earlier. Right now, just to kind of touch upon a few more players as well, or some other duos. Jamie and Sad Tipsy had an excellent game. You have to give it to them for them to make it to the final 2. Yes, they struggled very hard against the dominance on show from the 2 players of Ads and Vortexia, yes, but it doesn't mean that they didn't have a fantastic game right up to that point. I think, in the essence, that if Ads and Vortexia actually might be in a league of their own, I think Jammy and Sad Tipsy themselves might actually just right be behind them from what we've seen, because there have been that kind of level of consistency from them, but perhaps just a tier below. They have truly been excellent. And of course, shout out to Talisman, Lilac, and Heisenberg as well, who have kind of been almost like a thorn in the side, I want to say, for a lot of players, a lot of teams, as they have been continually aggressive throughout different games with high elimination counts. And I was actually surprised that we lost them what seemed like very quickly, actually, in the mid game of that one. I was hoping to see them kind of get to those last 5 teams, if you will, and get to that final circle.
Yeah, definitely. I was a little bit disappointed to see some of the teams go out a little bit earlier than I've hoped. Birmingham Shield definitely being one of them. The Ghost Squad. It's difficult when you're coming up against these top teams, and it is just one moment where you can let your guard down. You can have a exposed angle, and one shot will take you out of the game. And that's been the case a couple of times for this team. So we'll have to see how they get on next time, though, because as always, there is more to come.
Absolutely, there is more to come. And I hope there's more to come as well from a lot of these teams, a lot of these players. A notable mention is a team that I mentioned a few times was Birmingham Palisade. Arham and Icy had some really good positions. Clearly, their decision-making is there, right? Clearly, they've had plenty of experience playing Fortnite in a competitive fashion. And they kind of made a lot of great choices, but sadly, with some mistakes here and there, kind of cost them a little bit. We saw some accidental launches from themselves and also other teams as well. And I think these are kind of examples of mistakes that teams will kind of clean up on generally over time. But all that being said, here are the final scores for week number 1. No surprise there. Stratford Athena leading the way. 114 points, George. The only team to crack the century there for week number 1. What a dominant performance that was from them. Birmingham, NS Vogue as well with 88 points. Not too far behind, mind you, and quite a nice gap between them and Leicester Tooth, who come in third.
Yeah, Leicester Tooth in third. Then Birmingham, NS Wolf, and Newbury Drawbridge. So, the thing is, Stratford Athena, they looked fantastic. They had 114 points, like you said, the only team to crack that century, and they really deserved it. They went out there, they dominated pretty much all the competition, and just in behind them, like you said, Birmingham Vogue, they looked really good. Jammy and Tipsy, they did. They looked great. But as soon as they come up in that final 1v or 2v2, against Athena, it was just so difficult for them. Ads and Vortexia, they look absolutely fantastic, and I really feel like they're going to be the team to beat, the team to upset going into the future weeks of this tournament. And who knows, they might even be the team to go on and win it all, but we'll have to find out about that one.
Absolutely so. And you got to give it to them. They are truly the top team to look out for, Stratford Athena, going forward. And mind you as well, just to let the folks know at home, There is more. There is a week number 2 and plenty of weeks to come of this. And in fact, the points from week number 1 and every single week, they do accumulate over time, right? They will continue with that century going into week number 2. So Stratford Athena have kind of built themselves a little bit of a comfort zone at the top, right? And now the prediction becomes, are they able to hold on to that position, right? They will not be starting from square one or from the very start from week number 2. And likewise for their opponents, right? The hard work of Sad Tipsy and his teammate have clearly shown in the scores there, and their hard work this week will carry on into the next week. So we've got some developing storylines and narratives. It's clear to me, George. And just before we close out, I just want to say it's been an absolute pleasure casting with you. This is, of course, the first time we've casted together, and it's been a while that we've been since we casted with Belong. You and me both, I think around 1 to 2 years now it's been. So it's been absolute joy, and I hope you enjoyed too.
Yeah, I had a fantastic time as always. A fantastic pleasure casting with Belong and commentating with yourself, and as always, massive shout out to all the production and the staff behind the scenes. They always do a fantastic job and make our lives so easy with all of the data and stuff that they give to us. So a massive thank you to them, and thanks to the players for coming along, and thanks to everyone in the Twitch chat as well. I appreciate you all your kind words, everything like that. But yeah, that's all from me.
Absolutely. Well said indeed. Thank you everyone for tuning in this week. As I said, we will be back for week number 2 of Fortnite with Belong Arena Clash next Friday. Please do tune in around the same time of 6:30 p.m. And as well, you can also compete yourselves. We still have plenty of spots to go, but I'm sure you'll still see a lot of the same competitors this week, or rather next week, as we saw this week, especially the fantastic players of Ads and Vortex. They are truly some demons to really look out for, and definitely the favorites going forward. So yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure, George. And for the viewers at home, I hope you do tune in next week. Thank you all. And have a fantastic evening, and we'll see you next Friday.